Page 5, party time. The top of the page they talk about a jam session. Jam sessions are for people who just like to sit down, and usually it's people who play by ear and they're just having fun. They're just experimenting and trying out things with other people at the same time. Don't care that much what they sound like, they're just having fun. That's a jam session to me. Now this book has some things in it for electronic keyboard. I have an electronic keyboard. It's way buried back there. If I ever dig it out someday, maybe I'll come back and redo this book and include that. But right now, I'm just going to use an acoustic piano. A lot of jazz musicians just use acoustic pianos. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have an electronic keyboard, good. If it has a rhythm section, that's even better, because they're telling you, like on this party time, there's a note at the bottom, is put it in the register for a brass or whatever that is, a funky synthesizer thing. And if you have a rhythm component on your electronic keyboard, then set it up for rock or jazz so it can accompany, it can play rhythm in the background while you're playing this. And that can be fun too. I gotta skip all that because an acoustic piano doesn't have all that. Now I do have a rhythm machine over here somewhere that I could turn on and set up. It's not even plugged in right now. When I could use it as a background rhythm section. Because what I used to do is when I would do my scales, I would do it to a rhythm machine rather than a metronome. Because to me, playing to a trap set, a bunch of drums, is a lot more fun than playing to a tick-tock of a metronome. So I would do scales to drums. And you might try that if you have a rhythm machine or an electronic piano with a rhythm section in it. Do your scales to those. That's fun too. However, let's talk about party time. Going to start with the right hand. First, let's just cover the notes. We have here, it's starting out with third finger on E. So when I do this to start with, and I get this, I'm just kind of going to put the fingers next to it, knowing full well they may have to move. That's okay. I just gets my hand in the general location of where it goes. Because if you look at the second measure, second finger is playing the D sharp. Well, I put second finger on D, and generally, not always, we'll talk about it. In fingering, whatever finger would play the white key is going to play the black key. So since I have the second finger on the D, and the second finger's handy, in the first full measure there, I'm just going to play the D sharp. Then in the last measure, the first line, second finger is going to play that D again. So second finger is covering two notes. It's okay. Now, second line, let's look at this. You're starting out down here. So I'm just talking notes. Forget rhythm, just notes. Second measure, they want third finger on the F. So you have to scrunch your hand a little. And put your second finger here. That's so you're ready for the A coming up. Because you have to do that. Then you're going to lift your hand and come back down, put the fifth finger on the G, and finish it off. Don't have to do that. From time to time I offer alternate fingerings. There's nothing wrong with their fingering. They're doing just... That's fine. You get a little silence between them, and that's okay. They don't have phrasing marked in here, but it is a different phrases. There are two different phrases. You just don't have to do it that way. You don't have to finger it that way if you don't want. There's another way. From the A, the half note A in the second line, I could go on and use fourth finger on the G. I'm there, but I would still lift up, so I get that silence as though the little finger was going to do both. So, and then I do a 3, and then reach down with the 2. That's not a problem. You got to be able to reach further than that anyway. So reach down with the 2, and then the 3. That works too. So it's up to you whether you use the fifth finger on both. Generally, I won't use the same finger on two notes like that if I can help it. Sometimes you have to, and sometimes it's for effect. We'll get into that later. Just know here, fingering-wise, there's two different ways of doing it. Now, rhythm for the right hand. 4/4 time, quarter note gets a count. It's got 2-beat pickup. So we're starting on beat 3. If you look at the last measure, that's a half note by itself. You put the last measure and the pickup measure together and you got 4 counts. That's good. So we got 3, 4. Then we have a dotted rhythm. Hopefully dotted rhythms aren't causing too much of a problem. If they are, go back into book 1 of the course book, back where they introduce them, and go through it again. But in the first full measure with the dotted rhythm, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Try and be exact for now. Later on, we'll adjust things a little, but don't just play along short. Because your short will be too long or too short. So try and be exact. 1 and 2 and. It comes on the end of 2. And that's the dotted rhythm. That's about the trickiest part in it. Let's talk left hand. You're starting out with half notes with 5 and 3 for the first. Try and get them down at the same time. You just put your hand in that position and drop the hand. Might have to work on that because, again, it's not that easy to get these notes down at the same time when you're first starting out. Last measure, the first line, the rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And obviously we're in this position. Okay, I didn't mention that, but you are. Then in the second line, last 2 measures, look at that. You have an F or a G and the F sharp. Deal. Put them together, you have 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, last measure, the first line, right hand has a half note, comes up on beat 3. So when the left hand plays that D, that's beat 3. Lift the right hand up, so it's that measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so be careful when you lift. Be exact is what I'm saying. You can adjust things later, but be exact when you're first figuring this out. Second line next to the last measure. It gets a little tricky putting the hands together. Let's take this carefully. Forget the rhythm for a minute. Just concentrate on the notes. We're here on the first beat. Then you're going to play 2/8 notes in the right hand. And now the third beat, you have an F sharp and an E. And then the thumb plays here and then here. It's a little tricky when the hands are playing different fingers like this, and you have to work it out very carefully. Or if you use the other fingering I gave you, you start with a 4. So you work that measure out so it's kind of comfortable to you, and it'll help. You see the repeat sign at the end. It's played twice, which comes in handy because of the dynamics they give you at the beginning tell you you're going to play it more than once because there's 2 dynamics. Now what it means is the MF-P, the MF is the first time you play it and the P is the second time you play it. That's what it's about. You see this a lot in music. So the first time you're going to be medium loud, mezzo, forte, and the second time you're going to be soft, piano. That's what they're suggesting. And what those are, I can't help you on how loud or soft those are. You're going to have to decide. Sort of loud is medium loud. It's sort of loud. And that's the melody. So the right hand is medium loud, the left hand soft. We want to hear the right hand. Now when you repeat it, the right hand is soft, which means the left hand has to be softer than that. So it's... How soft can you get the left hand? Now people will get it backwards. They'll say, okay, I can only play the left hand this soft. Therefore, my right hand has to be louder than that, so that's my soft for the right hand. That's a mistake. Decide on the right hand how soft it should be. What is your soft? It's not the softest you can get, obviously. But you decide what soft is. And find a way, practice, to get that left hand softer than that. So there's a difference between the first time and the second time. like to experiment with the dynamics. And you can go up and down slightly as the music goes on. Again, once you've learned the notes and the rhythms, then you add the feelings like we did on the previous video. You turn it into music and you feel it. So you'll get a little louder and softer as the music goes in. So let's try this out slowly, very slowly, just to check notes and rhythms. I'm not going to do dynamics. I'm just going to play the notes because I need you to hear them. You do the dynamics eventually. So I'm going to give us 2 counts because it starts on beat 3. So your right hand starts here, left hand's here. Here we go. Ready and go, and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 2 and 2. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and repeat.